What's good, guys? I'm back at it again with another video. Today I'm going to give you all the essential tips, tricks, and everything you need to know for the early, mid to almost end game of Metaphor ReFantazio. There will be no story spoilers here, so you're free to walk about the cabin. However, I will be revealing some of the followers as well as some of the archetypes in the game, so if you don't want to see any of that, you want to go in blind, then save this video and check on it on a later date. If you want to skip to a certain part of the guide, feel free to check the chapter list down below. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. First things first, time management, the calendar. This is essential. This is going to be very important for you just to progress the game and have fun with it. When you see a dungeon, try to knock that dungeon out as fast as humanly possible, within one day if you can. Why? Because then it opens up the entire week. You can get up virtues, you can do activities, you can hang out with followers, and it's just more benefits in the long run. You will also be able to guarantee that you can 100% complete this game if you do so. So it's a huge benefit. However, just a couple of things to point out. Idlesday is a bargain sale day, so take advantage of that so you can get sales on different shops. Secondly, there's going to be these exclamation points that are special event days, and usually during those days you might be locked out from dungeons. It might be a lot of cutscenes, a lot of story progression. So just be aware of that and try to get things done before then. It doesn't always turn to be the case, but sometimes that is the case. Also, another thing you need to be aware of is when you go into these dungeons, you want to probably take your time while in there. I know I just said you want to complete it in a day, but when you're in there, you'll see these crystals. If you see a crystal, it might not be a bad idea, especially if you're around the same level, to farm for a little bit. Getting up your archetypes in this game is going to save your life and save you trouble later on down the road. So if you have a crystal here, go ahead and farm up some decent levels, as well as farm up your archetypes for you and your other characters, and it's nothing but huge W's and benefits. Now, with that being said, there's two types of experiences in this game: regular character experience for your level, secondly, archetype experience, which is the A experience. The closer the enemy is to your level, the more experience you get. If your level is just too high above the weak opponent that you're facing, you won't really get that much experience. However, if you have something like the merchant class here, you can still slap that thing upside the head with your passive. Your hero passive here is going to get you money every time you stun or defeat an enemy in the overworld, and this doesn't matter. You can see a group of enemies, slap them upside the head as many times as you want to get a bunch of money. If you're standing next to a Magla Hollow or a cat, go ahead, jump into Academia, come back out, slap them up again, farm a bunch of money. Money is your best friend. It's going to be the way this world goes round, and you're going to be extremely happy when you have all the money you need to buy all the items that you want from different shops. So just kind of piggybacking off of that thought, when you see a crystal, you want to farm up levels, and then you also want to farm up money. Farming up all these items will then give you a bunch of benefits. It gives you a bunch of mag. You can then inherit a bunch of skills later on down the road. So it's really going to help you out. Now, let's talk about these archetypes just for a quick second. I'm going to do a full guide on this in a different video, but just to brush over it, you don't want to stack up on a single archetype in this game. Not really a good idea, because in the later parts of the game, you're going to have certain enemies that completely deflect it, repel it, or just ignore it altogether. For example, you got this beautiful thing right here, the warrior. There's a bunch of amazing warrior weapons you get early game, so it looks extremely appealing to just go, oh my god, deal severe / damage day one, I'm all for it. But even if you have a full team of warriors and you can do the Peerless Stone Cleaver, you're going to be wasting away your MP in the early game, which is really hard to come by. Plus, you're going to be kind of biting yourself in the foot, which is just nasty if you think about it, because there's going to be certain enemies that repel that magic or repel those physical attacks, meaning that you want to kind of spread the love. Find a bunch of different archetypes that you can level up to a certain point. You don't have to max them out, just get them up to a certain point so that you can utilize this severe damage. Every single archetype is going to be giving you some type of benefit. So if you have an opportunity to farm at these crystals and you get a bunch of archetypes up, you can utilize any of this. It's nothing but W's everywhere. So it's a great idea to look at your favorites, figure out which character you want to have which archetype for, and farm them up. From there, let's talk about virtues. Virtues, oh my god. These things are kind of annoying. They're a little bit of a headache, but there's something that you have to get up. Courage, wisdom, tolerance, the three most important virtues in the game in the early game. Tolerance first. You want to get that at least to level 2. so that you can go ahead and talk to Maria and get the healer. Greatest supporter in the game. We'll talk about that later. Secondly, you want that courage and that wisdom. If you get the wisdom up to level 2, informed, you'll be able to purify weapons. Now, once you're informed with wisdom, you come over here to this guy, you talk to him, you go and you start purifying your amazing weapons. Now look at this. Some of these weapons are fairly decent the way they are, but some of them actually go crazy when you purify them. 222 attack damage, I'm all for it. Look, young Heisman here is going to be super happy with plus 74 attack damage. I'm thinking he's wanting that in his life. Now you're going to need a couple of things for this. You're going to need Blessed Water and Grace Water. You can find those inside of dungeons. Certain enemies in certain dungeons are going to give you these items, or you can just pick it up right from, one of these blue item markers. So make sure you're on the lookout for all of those in the world. Purifying weapons and getting your entire squad laced up with the greatest equipment you possibly can is really going to benefit you. Now, also, when your wisdom is high enough, you can talk to this beautiful woman right here. I mean, her eyelashes are kind of scary, but other than that, she's still beautiful. Look, Brigitta is awesome. So the reason why Brigitta is so cool is because she unlocks the merchant class. It's going to be your farming tool. You're going to need this. That hero passive is amazing. You're going to get proof of membership, which is going to allow you to buy things from her shop. Finally, we'll run over there in a second. You then are also going to get things like the better exchange rates. Not really so important in the early game, but maybe in the late game when you have a whole bunch of mag that you're not using. But this is the bread and butter. When you get more variety of items sold at her shop and then the guild discounts, we're cooking. On Idlesday, you got 20% discounts. But with this, you're going to have 40% discounts. And that is just amazing. There's another character in the game that's going to lower the price for magic shops. So you're going to want to see him. His name is Alfonso. He's pretty amazing too. But Brigitta, it's all about her today. So she's so amazing because once you're able to get these huge discounts and you can buy things at her shop, you can then stack up on amazing damage for your squad. Running over here to the Igniter shop, I mean, when you come and talk to this man, yeah, he's selling some pretty crazy things. He has all the different igniters in the game. Now, these igniters are really going to give you a huge advantage in certain fights. The way this works is you can put these igniters on your character as an accessory. Then they're going to be able to use these magic skills in battle. It's going to be a little bit more expensive than what that class would actually do with it, but it's allowing you to stack up on different elements for different battles. And there's actually some pretty broken synergy in that. So if we come back over to your archetype, for example, my wizard here, if I level my wizard up all the way to rank 11, it's going to give me Shield Blessing, the passive. This is going to allow me to get back a significant amount of MP every single turn. That's kind of broken, but okay, how do we make this work? We need somebody to raise or buff our attack, defense, hit, or evasion. There's a whole bunch of people that do that. The commander, for example, if I go over to Heisman, he can do that. This man can naturally raise defense. It's already built in his kit from day one. He can also do some other insane things with his synthesis skill. If you have a seeker, a knight, or commander lineage on the squad, then he can do assault beacon. It increases your attack, your defense, your hit, your evasion for all allies. So you can kind of see some pretty broken things you're going to get to at some point. You're going to be able to get back your MP instantly, and that's not all, because there's this right here, the Crescent Medal. The Crescent Medal is going to give you back medium MP recovery every turn in battle. So if you stack these things on top of each other with one of the most powerful wizards in the game, you're a wizard, Harry. No, I'm just kidding. But actually, you're going to be able to push out a lot of insane damage at all times. But let's not stop there. Let's keep going with this. If you come over here to the Thief, the Thief has a skill. It's called Plunder Magic. You could just rip MP off of enemies. Now, sometimes when you rip MP off of people, you only get a little bit. Other times you get a lot. But when you start using this as well as your necklace, and then you're also getting buffed and getting MP back, you kind of see what happens there. Infinite MP, that's kind of broken. I like it a lot. So there's just another benefit on why you kind of don't want to stack into just one archetype, but kind of want to spread the love. And let's not stop there. Not only when you start to level up other archetypes, you can start to inherit skills. So I went ahead and gave Stroll the cleric, and I don't even use the cleric for this man. Why? I only wanted to be able to revive my people and do full medium HP recovery for all allies when I needed it. He can inherit this skill once you got it unlocked, and that's exactly what he did. Because as soon as I came over here and I got my little warrior up, guess what I did? I set the skill to Medi, and I'm able to get all of my allies up. I can go down to Medica, and boom, I'm healing for a bunch of beautiful, beautiful heals. And we're getting back up. Now, Medi is actually pretty decent. It's a lot of healing, believe it or not. And then Medica is even better. So yeah, just be careful with the MP usage on certain items. You don't want to be over healing, and you don't want to be wasting that MP, because in certain fights you might actually need it. There's a lot of fights that you're going to bump into in the game, especially mid to end game, where you have to defeat people within a single turn or 3 turns. So yeah, it's kind of important. And that goes into our very last tip, which is going to push us into a very broken part of the game, the Faker. So this thing is kind of wild. I'm going to have a full-blown guide on how this thing works, but oh my goodness. The Faker is broken. The Faker's roguery, where you're able to make the opponent forget their moveset, and then you can get additional icons. It's a chance, it's RNG. But if you get this, you can practically lock your opponent into a single turn and just destroy their life. This is probably one of the only ways to kill certain enemies within a single turn, or kill a bunch of enemies within 3 turns. So mastering how this works is going to be amazing, but you don't have to master it. Just unlock it, take this skill, and then inherit it on something else that you really want to use. For example, my commander, yeah, it's rocking that skill, and it does a great job of using it. So it's a great idea for you to take your favorite skills from your favorite archetypes and put them on your even more favorite archetype. But that's going to be all for today's video. I hope you found it informative. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button for me. Sub to the channel so that you don't miss out on any more tips, tricks, guides, and everything you need for Metaphor ReFantazio. This is your boy M of M Since HD. For now, though, I'm out of here.